Hello my dear students. Today I will discuss about object-oriented programming. The topic is Introduction to Object-Oriented Programming Concepts Part 2. The next slide is about object-oriented programming. What is object-oriented programming? The process of wrapping up of data, that is field name, and functions, that is procedures, into a single unit called class is known as object-oriented programming. Examples: C++, Java, Ruby, C#. Object-oriented programming depends on two aspects. Number 1, object. Number 2, class. The next slide is about object and class. What is an object? An object is an identifiable entity with some attributes and behavior. It is an instance of a class. For example, car is an object. It has attributes such as color, model, and engine size. Its behavior includes driving forward, backward, accelerating, halting, etc. Number 2, what is class? A class is a set of objects that have some common attributes and behavior. For example, consider lions and cows. They all share common attributes such as eyes, hair, ears, and 4 legs. They all share common behavior such as eat, sleep, work, and run. Therefore, they can be grouped into a class called animal. The next slide is about characteristics of object-oriented programming. The main characteristics of object-oriented programming are as follows. Number 1, it uses bottom-up design in program design. Number 2, this programming approach is a collection of objects. Each object has its own data and a set of functions. Number 3, functions that operate on data of an object are tied together in data structures. Number 4, it supports information hiding technique. Number 5, objects communicate with each other through functions. Number 6, it supports code reusability. Number 7, it is extremely helpful in solving complex problems. The next slide is about limitations of object-oriented programming. The limitations of object-oriented programming are as follows. Number 1, object-oriented programs are much larger than other programs. It can consume a large amount of data. Number 2, it needs a substantial amount of pre-work and planning for development of software. Number 3, without the proper class documentation, OOP code is difficult to understand. Number 4, it is very complex to create programs based the interaction of object. The next slide is about principles of object-oriented programming. Object-oriented programming has 4 fundamental principles. Number 1, data abstractions. Number 2, encapsulation. Number 3, inheritance. Number 4, polymorphism. The next slide is about data abstraction. What is data abstraction? Abstraction refers to the act of representing essential features without including the background details. For example, a building can be viewed as a single component rather than separate components like cement, bricks, and rod. Abstraction is relative to perspective of the viewer. The next slide is about encapsulation. Encapsulation is the process of wrapping up of data, field name or attribute, and function, behavior, into a single unit called class. It keeps them safe from the outside world, preventing any unauthorized access. Class is the best example of encapsulation. For example, washing machine. The start button on the washing machine encapsulates lots of complexity. The encapsulation helps to hide all the internal details of washing, that is, filling up the water, etc. The next slide is about inheritance. Inheritance is a process by which a class acquires the properties of another class. It allows a class to use attributes and behavior of its parent class. The common class that gets inherited is called the parent class or base class or superclass. The class that inherits from the common class is called the child class or derived class or subclass. For example, a baby inherits the traits of his or her parents. The next slide is about polymorphism. The word polymorphism means processing more than one form. Polymorphism is a concept of a function or an object to acquire multiple forms. It allows an entity to take a variety of representations. For example, shape is a parent class. From this base class, specific types of shapes are inherited: circle, triangle, and rectangle. Area function can be used to handle different types of shapes, irrespective of whether it is a circle, rectangle, or triangle. Area function receives different types of parameter for different types of subclasses. Students, in this session, I have discussed about object-oriented programming. Hope all of you have understand this part of the chapter very well. That's all for now. Thank you.